Who is this?
Welcome, Vikings fans. This is the Full SKOL Podcast.
Let's go!
Let's go! Come on, Paul Allen. You did it with these boys. The dreaded crack is wrong.
I don't know where we're going, but yeah, not
in the wrong direction. I do badly. Well, maybe not. We'll get through it. There's a silver lining at every turn. But yeah, well, I think we're going to be okay. Welcome to week 2. We kind of missed the recap of week 1, so this will be a double episode,
which kind of sucks because can't recreate the emotional roller coaster that was the ending of the first game and then what we just witnessed this week.
Yeah.
Because everyone was riding high after week 1. We found ourselves a quarterback, boys, and
yeah, he's the one.
And then I got this off the TikTok shop, which is going to be great. So we thought we had a quarterback, and then the second week happened.
Like TikTok shop, I've seen people buy stuff on there, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't understand the TikTok because
why it showed me that I don't know, but I'm like, that's perfect for the podcast, and I have to have it.
Is that kind of like Temu or stuff's super cheap?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Japanese.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it says lead paint and everything else on here.
Bringing over the
little sad trombone.
Is that what that is? The trombone? Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, that's sweet. Oh yeah. I need big chamois. Big chamois.
Yeah.
Trombone.
So anyways, I don't know how we should go about this. Finish on the high note or just
well, like I said, unfortunately, last week due to traveling and different circumstances, we did not get to do a recap of the Monday night thriller. So this is a 2-1 kind of deal. As we've already mentioned, of course, Monday started with a massive high. We can just go, work through. Yeah, work through Monday and then
we got to touch on it because there was a bunch of stats and records that happened. I mean, we don't need to spend a ton of time on it because nobody's tuning in for that episode. Yeah, they already had that episode. Now we're dealing with the anger and the fallout from last week, but it was awesome. We had three quarters did not look very good.
Yeah, that
fourth quarter, he just turned it on and he looked great. Made some great passes. Made some athletic moves. That rush into the end zone was awesome.
Yeah,
you could hear, I think it was Hawkinson on the microphone. Was this like, you psycho or something? Because he just plowed underneath Hawkinson.
Hawkinson
gave him that block, and it was just that was crazy. And I did want to say that, I thought that was, I don't know if that was just how it worked out or that was really good, field presence or wherewithal. He had the presence of mind to go under Hawk, because that
I don't know
because if he doesn't, I don't know that he gets in.
Gets in, so, I think it's just diving for the end zone, and they just happened to jump underneath of him and slide between him and the defenders, or maybe he saw that and said, "There's my window, and I'm going." I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, it was an amazing thing.
It looked like he dove underneath and not just went forward. So
I
don't know. Pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
We're watching it on TV, of course, and it's happening in a blink of an eye, in real life. It's just boom, boom, boom. But I got this meme where it says JJ McCarthy of the Vikings is the first player in NFL history to have 2 10-plus yard passing touchdowns and a 10-plus yard rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter of any game, and he did it in his NFL debut. Ever.
I have another meme that I thought you were reading the same thing. It was almost word for word until you got to the stats. So here's a different one. JJ McCarthy is the first player in NFL history to account for 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter on his debut.
Yeah. I think Steve Young, I saw something about Steve Young doing that too, but I don't know that it was
I have right here. It says
it wasn't in the fourth quarter.
No. In the past 45 years, two quarterbacks have overcome a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter of their NFL debut and won. JJ McCarthy and Steve Young.
Yeah. And
so
Steve Young,
rare air.
Yeah, Steve Young turned out to be pretty good.
He was the
other one I saw, based on that game, JJ McCarthy was named the Offensive Player of the Week. In the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. So in the past 4 years, Kevin O'Connell has produced 4 Offensive Players of the Week. 2022 and Kirk Cousins, 23 Joshua Dobbs, 24 Sam Darnold, and 25 JJ McCarthy in week 1. So out of 17 times 4 is 34, 68 weeks for there to be chances. 4 of them have been in the last 4 years have been Kevin O'Connell's quarterback. So definitely that, like I said, that first 3 quarters was very, very rough. We'll talk about that bad meme after when we talk about the Atlanta game. But the thing about that game, which obviously, like you said, I mean, that fourth quarter was just unbelievable, amazing. It's like just a switch turned on or something happened, and they went crazy. Jefferson and who caught the other one? Was it Speedy?
The Bears happened. Yeah, Naylor, I think. And then Thielen got a 2-point conversion.
Thielen got a 2-point conversion, and then of course he runs that in. But I mean, it was just a totally different thing. So my thought process was, and some of our text threads was that it took him 3 quarters to figure it out. And my mind started to go to, as I started to kind of prep for our podcast, which didn't happen, but was that does that lead to, should they have played more in the preseason? Because this was like the first time that the starters really got any extended time at all, because they played in the first preseason and not all the starters were playing, because Jefferson didn't play at all in the preseason, which they say, oh yeah, he doesn't need to and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, but still, I mean, you have a rookie quarterback, basically. I know it's his second year, but basically he's really a rookie quarterback. So you're seeing like the Bengals with Joe Burrow, which of course we'll talk about that too going forward into this week's matchup. But he played a lot of the preseason, and a lot of other even veterans are playing more preseason games. So because you have different skills, different skill positions that are just joining the team. So it starts to make me wonder, does KOC need to revisit that? Because you could tell for that first 3 quarters of the game, like they were still just kind of getting their feet wet a little bit. Like, and I don't know, maybe not, but maybe if a little bit more extended time in the preseason playing together as the ones, maybe an entire quarter or a first half, or maybe a quarter of all 3 games, or maybe not the third game, because you're trying to get people, you're basically debuting or interviewing for people to stay on the team. But what about the first 2 games that they play a whole quarter in each game? That's enough, I
feel like you're right in that part of the preseason is kind of you're testing out players, seeing who you're going to be your final roster. Very nice. And 2, and I think sitting right now kind of leads to this, like you are risking getting hurt. And obviously there's a risk in a regular season game, but it's a regular season game. Like that's just, you can't, I don't know that I'm a super fan of like having them play too much, because season could be over before it starts. If you have a major injury. I mean, right now, if we want to meld into what happened last week, I think there's a lot of criticism pointed towards JJ that's accurate and that's fair. I think there's a lot of criticism that points towards KOC, and that's fair. Like we have to hold his feet to the fire too, and he has said as much. Like the play calling was not great first half of the Bears game, and it wasn't great pretty much the entire game against Atlanta. So I don't.
Well, and here's the thing. And here's the thing about that. Blame. Yeah, and I was planning on kind of talking about that kind of after we got through the wrap ups of the games to take on more of the subject matter of different our opinions and stuff like that. So anyway, so we saw the Bears game and looked great in the fourth quarter. Obviously, like I said, broke all kinds of records, 3 touchdowns, all this kind of stuff, and we thought, okay, this is we found him. He's a dog. Like him mean mugging. Like that was just like, oh, are you kidding me? And the way the team just rallies around him, the way when he scored, the whole bench came flying to the end zone. I mean, like they loved this dude. He commanded in the huddle. Did you hear the story of Aaron Jones, where he talked about after in a podcast on that, where he said, we're down in the third quarter, late in the third quarter or the beginning of the fourth quarter. And he said, JJ walks into the huddle and he looks around and he's like, hey guys, is there any place you'd rather be? And Aaron Jones was like,
after the pick six too.
Yeah, it was after the pick six. That's right. So Aaron Jones is like, no, dude, that's exactly where I want to be. Like, it just like he fires up the team. And the other thing that we have to remember is that this dude just wins. He just wins. He's like 60-something and 3 going into his NFL career. Mm-hmm. Like the dude just wins. So the fact that he did that in Chicago, and of course, Chicago's not good. I mean, look at what Detroit did to him. I mean, that's just embarrassing. 52, which I don't even want to talk about that because it's just kind of rude. And even all the players that are like, yeah, we're going to F and boo him, this and that. I'm like, really, dude? The dude's trying. I mean, like, are you going to pass up millions, tens of millions of dollars to be a head coach because you want to stay in OC because you want to stay in Detroit? Come on, dude. Like, really? You're going to boo the man for trying to better his life? Like, that just shows.
Yeah,
that just shows who that team is, dude.
But Detroit's trash. I mean, Detroit is Detroit, meaning this the people of Detroit. Unfortunately, the whole state of Michigan has to suffer for the reputation of the citizens of Detroit. Yeah. But it's they're. But it's dumb. But they got spanked by Green Bay, which was great. The only thing not great is looks like Green Bay is legit, and I hate that.
Green Bay is legit. Yeah.
With
Miles Garrett,
never heard of
dude. Or Micah Parsons, that dude makes. I told you, this dude's going to be a problem. He makes a difference. But anyway, so back to our games. Not really. We can talk about the NFC, as we go through. But so great game one, big high. Everybody's smiling. Late night Monday night, but it feels good. I mean, I don't care. I wake up Tuesday morning and I'm dead tired, and all of a sudden the smile comes on my face. Like, we won last night. Like, we got a quarterback, we got a dog, all this stuff. And so that lasted all week. Like, oh, this is great. And Thielen's home, and then we got a home game coming up, which you're gonna have. You fill us in on all of that. And then here comes the Dirty Birds, the old Kirko Chains. And then tell us about the in-house experience.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I kind of made up my mind. I wanted to get tickets and go, and I was able to. I had the weekend open, nothing following me, and so I was like, dude, I'm going. So I got tickets because it just the Thielen homecoming. Like, obviously I'm also riding the high end on that fourth quarter against the Bears for sure. Yeah, and to be honest, totally forgot Kirko Chains was even in the house. Yeah. Like, until you brought it up right now, I didn't even think about it one time. I didn't think about him one time in the stadium. Totally forgot.
Look for him down there on the side.
No, I didn't. No, absolutely. And I was on the visitor side, so I don't know if I could have seen
them down below you.
I'm on the third level. You can't really see.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Which I got to make sure I don't do that because there wasn't many Atlanta fans, but there were some sitting right in front of me. 3 older ladies, middle-aged women, I should say, probably my age, if I'm being fair.
Probably your age.
Maybe younger. Maybe younger.
Yeah.
And they weren't rude or anything. They were just, but it still sucks when someone cheers when your team isn't doing good. Just like, just want to pop you in the back of the head. But you can't fault them. They're rooting for their team, right? Like, and they weren't being irritating or annoying anything. I'm sure they thought I was because, brother, that place was so loud, dude. And I'm whistling right in these ladies' ears, and I don't care. Every time they had to plug their ears. Every time.
That's awesome. Hey, but you're rooting for your team. You know, I mean,
I'm rooting for my team, and and it worked because they got a bunch of false starts, and like I heard somebody said even on TV, like the announcers had a hard time even hearing themselves, like it was so loud. Awesome. I've been to a few games now there at US Bank, and that was the loudest I've ever heard it. Yeah. Like it was crazy.
Home opener,
home opener.
What was it when Thielen ran out?
Thielen's homecoming. I mean, the place went crazy. The place went nuts. I mean, that kind of set the tone. I think that's why we were so loud right out of the gate. Was when they announced Thielen, like the place just.
But he came out early, right? Like they announced him kind of early compared to like JJ and Jeff.
Is that train in your house?
Yeah,
in my house. Sounds like it's coming right through your house.
Yeah, it is literally 20 yards behind my house. Yeah, in my backyard.
Sounds like you have your own sound effects going on here. Like, why are you playing the train thing here? Anyways, no, it was just a normal announcing.
I thought they announced him kind of early on in the starting lineup, though, but maybe not. I didn't.
I mean, he was fairly early. I mean, I don't know. He wasn't the first one that they announced.
No.
I don't remember who came out first, but anyways, yeah. So when he ran out, that was crazy. And then I didn't even know, but then Jared Allen was in the house. He was receiving his Hall of Fame ring, so he came out on the motorcycle, and that was super badass. So even though, even though it was a terrible game to watch, it was. Yeah, I had a great time. Like I didn't leave like super depressed and disappointed like I usually do on the Vikings loss because there was so many other bright spots, and it was just a really good time. And I don't know. If anybody hasn't ever been to US Bank, like when I'm sitting there, I'm like, where do I want to sit? I want, I can't bring myself to pay for like expensive tickets, and and after this week, I don't know that I ever will, because. I was in the third row, not exactly 50-yard line, like maybe 40-yard line or something like that to one side. I could see the whole field, good. The only time I had to really look at the screen was on a kick, because it's just at that angle, it's really hard to see if it actually goes through or not. So it's easier just to turn your head and look at the screen, because they're showing you it, coming right at the uprights. So other than that, unless there's a play close to this sideline, then then sometimes you can't really see what's happening. Yeah. But for the most part, you can see
on the third level.
Yeah, you can. For the most part, you can see really, really well.
Yeah, I got to get there.
When you're looking at ticket prices of a little over 100 versus 700 or something down on the first level, it's like you can't. You're going to tell me that experience is $600 more worth.
I'll bet
more
you
than
can't.
What I just did?
You would see less. You would see less because you don't have the high vantage point.
Once your angle starts dipping down like this, and
the lower you get. Yeah, I've always said that.
Maybe not. Maybe I have to experience. Maybe that's not the case. But all I know is that I had no complaints about where I was sitting. Like
I guess maybe if the lower level is steeper, and so the seating, even though it's right on the ground, but it's kind of more straight up stadiums. That way, every row has a really good seat.
But I feel like when you're looking at that flatter angle and when the plays are away from you, you're not going to see certain things like I saw. Like I was able to see, and this plays into what we're talking about. Like I was able to see the plays, like all the plays, like. It was like looking down on the old fashioned rattle football game. You put the little foam football. The board just rattles. Magnetic. The whole players are moving around. I could see it. Like I could see everything. And there was times, where you could see a play develop, and it gave me a good vantage point.
Good.
Of what kind of why you can't put the blame all on McCarthy. Whenever we want to talk about that. But, the game didn't end well. It was very ugly. We didn't score a single touchdown.
Well, the game the whole game didn't play well at all. It was terrible. So, we don't really need to go through the numbers of the Bears games and stuff like that. We can talk about the Atlanta game and then move on to our opinions and different things like that. So, Atlanta, like you said, obviously we got beat 22-6. That was a game that we had both picked as a win. We did not put any scores down, but we had.
Well, we didn't we didn't put scores on because we didn't do a week one episode. But I kind of want to redo
Yeah, I kind of do too, but we can't. We can't really do that. We have to just. I mean, I guess we could pick.
Well, we can change when we give our scores and we give our, each week. Obviously, it's going to be changed. There's going to be discrepancies from what our first season.
Yeah, what our initial
guesses were versus.
So 22-6. No touchdown. So the Falcons had 326 total yards to our 198. They only had 108 passing yards, and we had 120. But they had 218 rushing yards, and Bijan Robinson had like 146 or something like that. It's insane.
Yeah, could not stop the run.
78 to ours, and they averaged 5.2 yards a play, and we averaged 4.3. So Metellus, after the game, was talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, 200 yards on the ground, like we can't. That just can't happen. We have to do better." Blah blah. Bijan Robinson, 22 carries, 143 yards. Yeah, so that's. What 10 carries or 10 yards a carry would be 220. So 5 at 22 is 110. So yeah, probably 6 or 7 yards a carry he averaged. Penix did not throw a touchdown. I think they just rushed it in. Maybe he did throw a touchdown, but anyway. So yeah, and we did not score in the second half. We scored 2 field goals in the first. In the second quarter, it was 6-0 at the end of one, and then it was 9-6 at the half, which we scored a field. I mean, it looked great. Just like we did against Chicago at the half,
defense kept us in.
Two great plays, whatever, and they kicked a field goal to get us close. So we're only down by 3 going into halftime. So we're like, even in the third quarter, they only scored a field goal, and so the defense kept keeping us in with short yardage and turnovers and all these things. But it was 9-6 at the end of 3, and so 12-6, and so it was still a touchdown at an extra point, and we take the lead, but there was no offense. I mean, just atrocious. Now we can go into, obviously, Christian Darrisaw has not played all season, and we had a backup left tackle who got knocked out of the game as well. Rodney, I think, Justin SKOL, who was not good in week 1 either, but he got knocked out, and then our Ryan Kelly, our center, gets knocked out. So they had to put in a rookie center that had never taken a snap. JJ had never taken a snap from him before. He had no practice with the ones, none whatsoever. So he comes in, and so there's times where I see JJ kind of holds the ball because I think that he's accustomed to making these plays, and I don't know that he's quite picked up on the speed of the game yet. It's what it kind of looks like to me. Like he's just not feeling it as well, which it's his second game in the NFL. Like there has to be, there's got to be some grace given there. So Jordan Addison is still on suspension. This coming week will be his last week. That's going to be huge. Blake Cashman is out. He's on IR now, so he's at least out minimum of 4 weeks. Middle linebacker. Ty Chandler's out. He was, of course, is kind of a third string running back. He does punt returns, which Ty Chandler, it's not a huge deal because that price is nice, the punt returner. Darrisaw hasn't played a snap yet. CJ Ham's been out all season. Rondell Moore went down in the preseason for the season. Jeff Okudah, quarterback, he's out. Harrison Smith hasn't come back yet. Van Ginkel, who was out last week with a concussion, of course, he's probably back this year. This week. So definitely he did not have any time for one. He got sacked 6 times. Caleb Williams got sacked 68 times last year, and that was an NFL record. If we keep on this rate, it's going to be 80 if we don't get him some kind of protection. So, I know that he's mobile. I know that he can run a little bit, but there's no excuses. Like, that we all these players start going down. And then that's where, to me, let me throw this stat out here since we're talking about how bad that game was. JJ McCarthy passer rating versus Atlanta. I think this is on, actually it can go over 100. 37.5% passer rating against Atlanta. JJ McCarthy's passer rating, if he just spiked the ball on every pass attempt, 39.6.
It's because you don't throw interceptions when you're spiking it.
He was 2 points less than just walking up and spiking the ball on every single passing down. I mean, the KOC talked about it in his press conference. We get down there, great big play to Speedy, get down there to the 2, and then we substitute. The stupid official gets in the way, which is a terrible rule. Why is the play clock running? Okay, I understand that. Okay, you got to give them time to sub. But
that was pretty
you couldn't even get the playoff, and then we get a penalty, and then we get a sack, and then boom, there's three points instead of a touchdown. So it's just, I guess that was in the first half though, because we didn't score in the second half. So it's just, that's a microcosm of the way that game is. Just a terrible. I was coming away from that game after watching that with the boys and stuff like that, and I was coming away thinking, is there one thing that I can point to and say, you know what, that wasn't that bad? And the defense. The defense holding them. The defense holding them. But you can't continue to just hold them. I mean, they're going to break down. We kept getting them short fields. We're turning the ball over. All of these things. So.
Right. And then they get tired. They wear down. They're gassed. They're, all the things that go. And that stems from the offensive problems for sure. And I said it. I'm like, the fact that we can't get 1 yard at any given time when we need it is a huge problem. And that's not all. And again, so, when you point fingers, and pass blame, it's easy for McCarthy to be the target that everybody goes after. But he doesn't have much but to hand off the ball on a running play to get that 1 yard. So our front line, obviously we just covered the injuries, there's problems all around. And then his play calling. And one thing, and this isn't even a this year problem. This is just a Vikings problem. It's probably in everybody's team's problem. But it seems like I get frustrated when I'm watching a game, even when I'm watching a game that the Vikings aren't in. When people are making these quick little throws, these little 3 yard, just drop back, quick throw, boom, there's your 3 yards, and maybe that's all they get. I'm always like, why can't we do that?
Why can't
we need, why do we never do that like dipping, the little dip and dunk stuff? I don't understand. I don't
get
know. So frustrated.
It's as much as we've preached, and obviously I'm still very high on KOC, but we're 4 years in, and you can't just keep saying it. Like every single week, every single loss, he takes accountability for it, and it starts to me, I have to do better, but you're really not doing any better. You're still making the same calls. At some point
you have to actually do better.
You have to do better. You have to actually do better. And I'm just not seeing that. Like you said, how can we not get 1 yard? How many times have we been like, I'm always like, if I'd rather not get in the red zone. We need to have a 30-yard pass play that goes into the touchdown end zone or something like that, because if we get into the tight red, we cannot score. Since KOC's been here, we can't score. And we think we got Adam Thielen, we got TJ Hawkinson, we got running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Why can we not get in from 10 yards and in? Like 2 yards and in, 1 yard, 3. I mean, like we just can't do it consistently at all. And so I think that KOC just overthinks it. He tries to get he's not like when I think of us as a team, just take the 10,000 foot view or whatever and look down and not as huge fans of, we're going to win, 16 games or whatever. And we're going to do all this kind of stuff and just look at that and think, okay, what are other people, like some of the criticism and stuff like that. And we're always like, that's just so dumb. How can you think that? But when I think of us and that more of a generalized, just as a football standpoint, because I consider myself a football fan. Like I like watching good football and I watch all the other games and stuff like that. And I cheer for the teams that I don't, like the NFC North, I cheer for them to all lose but us and all that kind of stuff. But when I think of us, I don't think of a smash mouth. We can do what we want to do and impose our will on people, because we can't. We just, that's not. Now, I think we have a great defense, but when it comes to offense, it's just a little bit what's the word? And I don't even know how to describe like the emotion or the feeling that comes to mind of it's there's big potential, but still, well, yeah, it's underachieving, but it's just kind of like it's a little soft, like because it's we have some great playmakers and all this kind of stuff, but it's a little bit of sugar and spice kind of thing. Like we don't have, I don't think of, Derrick Henrys and stuff like that, which of course is a different skill set than what we have, but still, we got to be able to run the ball. We have to do better, and that because we've had different front lines, and this was supposed to be our best offensive line, and a lot of guys are hurt, but I think that comes down to coaching, because how can you not scheme a pocket for these running backs to at least get a few yards? How many times do we get stopped in the backfield? They're getting through. Like either the personnel are just not good enough, or it's a bad blocking scheme. It's a bad mentality. It's a bad coaching point. I don't know. I don't. I wish I did, but that's a problem. It's a problem that we cannot move the ball on the ground. And like you said, when we need, it's 4th and 1, and we can't even execute the snap, and JJ has to fumble, has to fall on top of it. I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, you got to be able to you have to have sustained drives. I mean, when you gave the stats and the rushing yards and all that, and I guarantee if you looked at time possession, it'd be crazy skewed. But a lot of that stems just from that. We can't get that short yardage to extend the drive. And even if you don't score on the end of a sustained drive, you still chewed up all that clock. That's still time that the other team doesn't have to put up all those stats. So in a way, you can be like, oh, Atlanta ran all over us. They did. Not really trying to take anything away from the fact that they did, but in a way, the stats are padded because they just had so much more time to do that. We never stayed on the field long enough. So it's not like our defense was stopping them. So it makes it look like our defense couldn't stop the run, which there was times where it didn't, but we did stop it enough that it didn't run away, that the game didn't run away from us. It's just if you keep giving them that many tries, they're going to get it.
Well, so I looked at the deeper dive into the stats, and just like total plays, we had 46 plays to their 63.
Yeah, that's
almost
point.
20, 17 more plays than us. We lost 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions thrown. That's 4 turnovers. Time of possession, 23-28 for us, 36-32 for them. That's a quarter. 14 minutes. It's 14. That's an entire quarter that they had the ball more than us.
That's my point. That's my point. Yeah. It's like it makes it look like the defense got beat more than it did, but just like you gave them a whole extra quarter of possession. Like, what do you like?
Yeah, we gave them. Yeah, you can't.
And then with the turnovers, you can't do that. Like, it's just you can't win 43 you can't win a game snaps,
like that. 43 plays, and 4 of them were turnovers. So we had 39 productive. 39.
That's why, I asked, like, is Atlanta actually this good? And you're like, well, they're mid. I'm like, well, we're making them look really good. Because the thing is, and again, while we're picking on KOC, I'll pile on a little more. From my vantage point, I could see really well. And you can blame McCarthy for some things, and there was definitely times where he had some receivers open and he didn't release the ball fast enough. There was a few times he had nothing but field in front of him. He should have scrambled. He could have made something happen with his feet, and he didn't. He needs to make decisions faster, which I don't think is an outrageous statement. And also, I don't think it's a surprising thing for a basically rookie quarterback to adapt to the speed of the NFL. Get it eventually, but right now, his decision making is still at college speed, and it's not gonna cut it. But with that said, going back to KOC. Seeing the field, and I can see these plays, dude, our receivers did not have much separation most of the game. There was not that often. I looked down the field and I'm like, why? Throw it to JJ. Throw it to Nail. What the heck? They're open. Jettis is open. They weren't really. That coverage was pretty tight all game. So is that scheme? Is that on KOC? You can't get your guys open? I mean, it's no one thing for sure. Because if your front line is beat up and people aren't doing their assignments, certain plays just don't get the time to develop. If McCarthy's running for his life or he's getting sacked, well, you're not giving anybody time to get open. So there are definitely, obviously, there's multiple factors involved here, and you can't solely point it at KOC. But I do, in that, if that's what's happening, if your plays are too complex, that take too much time, and during the game you see that we can't give that much time, you got to go to your quick playbook and start doing those.
You got to have a whole sheet of quick hitters and just run that whole game.
3 yards here, 3 yards there, 3 yards there.
Get some tempo, little slants. Just get the ball, like 2-step drop balls out. I mean, don't give them time to hit you.
You're telling me you don't have a play to hit Hawkinson over the middle and a little 5-yard. You don't have that in your bag, at will. What are you talking about? The dude's huge.
If they don't,
he's a giant target.
Then we have a real problem. That was kind of one of my notes is, where's Jefferson and where's Sabretooth? Where are they? You have to get them involved, and it can't be always 10, 12, 15 yards downfield, because we just don't have the time. When your nose tackle goes out, your center goes out, when your left tackle's already been trashed, and then you have to put a rookie in there like KOC. You have to go to your top 15, one drop, 2-step drop, quick outs, balls out in 2 seconds, plays. And that's what you just run the rest of the game.
Do some more design runs that he got the touchdown on. That's gonna make that defense go, bring him in, and then that might open up
him
the
on
down.
The bootleg, move the pocket. There's just I'm starting to question my 100% faith in KOC is down to probably 95. It's 4 years. I mean, years now. It's 4 years. It's 4 years now, and you can't just keep saying, "Oh yeah, I have to do better. I have to do better." But you can't say that every time we lose. I have to do better. Then do better. Then be better. Just don't tell me you're sorry.
You can say that when you're 14-3, or whatever. But right now, and to be fair, we are 1-1.
We're 1-1. I mean, it's early season. That's a quote I saw from Adam Thielen. We started 5-0 one year and missed the playoffs. We started 1-2 and went to the NFC Championship game. A week 2 loss doesn't derail who you are as a football team, but it can if you don't treat it the right way. Great opportunity to see what this team's really made of. So, and he's right. I remember when we started 5-0 and we didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. So, it happened. So we're 1-1. I mean, JJ is definitely not as prepared as we had hoped, as that we wanted. Of course, the talking heads are like, you let Sam Darnold leave, and you let this kid, you just gave this kid the keys and all this kind of stuff. But
it's so easy to say that, but they're not looking at the numbers either. We knew that Sam was going to cost money, so it wasn't just a we let him walk scenario. It was we weighed all the options and we're like, go get paid, Sam. We got our guy. We're gonna stick with our guy. Yeah, you deserve to go get paid, and we can do it. Yeah, so I mean, I get it, and there's going to be growing pains, like you said. Again, it's his second NFL start, and I read somewhere, because he had his first child. His girlfriend or fiance had a baby boy on Tuesday or something like that, or Wednesday. So I read. I don't know how accurate it is, or even if it's even partly true, but that it's like a testosterone drop for a male when your wife has a baby or something like that, and just the emotion, because the emotional highs. Well, it's a big thing. You didn't get sleep. You didn't. Yeah. It's emotional.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that maybe that had something to do with it. And the fact that he was right back there. So. Now, of course, we move on to Carson Wentz.
Because JJ got hurt. I mean, we got
Carson Wentz.
13 guys out on injury right now, which is crazy.
So here's the report as of
people
today.
Make up your starting team, and we have 13 of them that are out.
Yeah. The injury report as of today and participation in practice. Christian Darrisaw, full participant today. Grenard was limited with that oblique. He's got a, like his side of his stomach, whatever. Donovan Jackson was limited. Participate. Austin Keys with a groin injury is limited. JJ, of course, did not participate. He's out 3 to 4 weeks, or 2 to 3 weeks, they said. Jeff Okudah was a concussion, but he's full participant, so he's probably back. Josh Oliver was limited. Justin School with another concussion did not participate. Harrison Smith limited, and Van Ginkel limited. So the thing about this is like Gink should be back. That was a concussion, so he's in the protocol. So that's generally like a week thing because it's not going to linger forever. And like he was at practice today, so that Harrison Smith is an enigma. We have no idea what's going on with this personal health issue. He's trying to ramp himself back up. There's been no leak whatsoever, so it's got to be very sensitive. It's got to have some. I don't even want to speculate, but so we get Harry back. That's going to be huge. School, even though he was pretty terrible in CD's absence, concussion, so he'll be back within a week or two. Ryan Kelly, the center, concussion. He's in the protocol. So he could be cleared by the end of the week. You just don't know how these things go, but usually that's not a 2 or 3 week long. It's not like it's a hamstring or a knee or something like that. You know what I mean? It's a concussion. You're going to come through it. Apparently Ryan Kelly has been concussed a number of times though, over his career. So you never know. So there's definitely, and if Christian Darrisaw is back, this week could look a lot different. Carson Wentz was the number 2 overall pick in 2016 by the Philadelphia Eagles. And, he, pushed them all the way through. And then, of course, he got injured. And what's his name came in and they won the Super Bowl with him as the starting quarterback. But he was with the Eagles from 16 to 20 when Jalen Hurts came or whatever, but then he got moved to the Colts in 21 and he was a starter there. And then he just started a backup 22, 10, 23 at the Rams, 2024 last year with Kansas City. And now of course he's with us, and every year he's been like a backup. So Carson Wentz from North Dakota State, he grew up a Vikings fan. I saw an interview where he was super excited to come out, because this is the team that he rooted for, the Jared Allens and the Dante Culpeppers and Randy Moss. So now I'm seeing these pictures, he said, in the facility, and these are all the guys that I grew up watching and stuff like that. He said that the skull chant. I'm like, dude, you didn't grow up with the skull chant because that's been since you've been in the league. So you didn't do no skull chant as a kid because that was relative. But anyway, so Carson Wentz comes in. I think that it's going to be. I think that we're going to be just fine. Of course, Cincinnati will be without Joe Burrow. There's a ton. I just started looking that up with Joe Burrow and with JJ. So Joe Burrow is out for the Bengals, of course. Jaden Daniels out for the Commanders. Brock Purdy's out for the 49ers. JJ's out. Justin Fields is out in the Jets. So there's a ton of starting quarterbacks that have already gone down, and this is only week 2 for various reasons. So now Joe Burrow's backup did come in and have a great game. Jamar Chase had I don't know if he had 2 touchdowns or a touchdown and a ton, 150 some yards, something like that. He had a great game in Joe's absence. But so I don't think that it's necessarily going to be a cakewalk. Obviously, that guy's going to get a whole week of practice, their backup quarterback, as we play Cincinnati this week. So we look at the schedule a little bit. But if Christian Darrisaw's back, if somehow Harry's back, if Gink is back, Dallas Turner, I think, played well, getting some pressure and stuff like that. He got a big sack. It was kind of a, there's other pressure. And then when Penix turned, then he was right there and just drove him right into the ground, So that was big. But I don't, as much as that game was an atrocity, I mean, just gut-wrenching to watch because there was just nothing to get excited about. I don't remember cheering for much of anything other than the defense. Big play to Speedy, I guess, down there on the 2. That was a big play. And but other than that, it was just kind of like, man, this game sucks. It's not fun to watch.
There was some shoulda, coulda, wouldas. With JJ overthrowing Naylor on that one, that likely would have went for a touchdown. And if that does, it changes the game, of course.
Momentum. We take the lead there. There's momentum.
Quite a bit changes the game, when all you're getting is field goals and you can put up a touchdown,
that was definitely would have been a touchdown. There was nobody out in front of him. Yeah, they just over. I don't know that he necessarily overthrows him. He's just got to get some more air under that. And that's what I've heard about JJ. One of the knocks on him is that he doesn't have the touch. He rifles. He's got such an arm. He's got such a cannon that he tries to just rifle it in there, and it just doesn't have the loft or the float. So if he puts that up in the air, Speedy has time to get underneath of that. But just at the trajectory and how as hard as he threw it, like he's not that fast. I mean, he's fast, but you outthrow him, dude. You got to get some air under
that. For real. And it's and he throws a fast ball. I mean, you can see like when Thielen and Hawk and JJ are dropping, Jettas are dropping passes. Like that ball is just, it's there, which is good, but you got to develop some touch too. But, I think that he will eventually, but just real quick, I don't know when Carson Wentz got into the league, but the first time that the Vikings used this was 2016.
16.
So
yep. That's when he was
16 is when we started the SKOL chant, the first home game at US Bank Stadium.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe he was there he went to a game as a college senior or something, but yeah, I think that he's gonna be fine. Carson Wentz, he's a veteran quarterback, obviously. He's got some history with the Rams, obviously in 23, so he's got some history in the system, in KOC system, or similar in the Sean McVay system. KOC talked to Sean about it. He actually talked to Andy Reid about him a little bit as well. So I think that we're going to be just fine. And it could be, I was talking to Jeremiah about it, and I'm like, there's a chance that he could come in here in the next 2 or 3 weeks and we could look amazing. And then what do you do? Then what do you do when McCarthy's coming back? Because, you got to look at, we're trying to build this kid and to develop him. But at the same time, though, we have the position and we have the players to win now. And so do you sacrifice? And I'm not saying that it's a sacrifice, but if Carson Wentz comes in and plays amazing, which I think that he's going to play well because the game is a lot slower to him, obviously.
Look what we did with Sam Darnold. I mean, if we can do we can have a 14.
Well, but Sam Darnold's the same thing, though. He's a veteran. He was a veteran. And so, so if Carson Wentz can come in and have that kind of an impact, what happens in 3 weeks when JJ's cleared to come back?
I definitely think you don't push it for sure. Yeah. But if he's doing really, really well, how do you bench him?
Yeah, that's my thing.
I mean, how if it's going well? And I mean, I support that decision of not benching him because I wanted JJ to sit behind a veteran for at least a year. In my mind, that would have been, if we could have kept Cousins somehow, that would have been like my preferred, because I do think that Cousins would have a lot to pass on to JJ McCarthy. But if Carson comes in and he starts getting it done, and to be honest, right now, I think that's our best case scenario.
Yeah. No, I don't. And Carson Wentz could get hurt. I mean, like if he comes in there and plays really well and then something happens and he goes down, then JJ's right there to step right back in. Mm-hmm. I think that sometimes my fear is that KOC is so hyper in tune to the quarterbacks that maybe sometimes it's too much because he doesn't want to hurt the kid because he knows what that's like because of his journey and all. He wants to make sure that he builds them up, and the fear is that, okay, you're ready to go, but hey, man, I'm sorry, Carson's really playing well, so we're going to keep you. Like, okay, yeah, you're developing him, but at what cost, KOC? At what cost? We are built to win now, and selfishly, obviously, I want to win right now, but we don't know what Thielen's got, and if he's going to ride off into the sunset, and Carson can take us there, how do you?
Yes, if the movie happens, we need to win within the next 3 years
2
max.
Years, maybe, yeah, because how long does Thielen stay? He's on a 1-year contract, and if he doesn't go, who's to say that they don't, Kwesi and them just say, hey, thanks for coming back, but that's it. I mean, who's to say that? So that's I guess that's where kind of like my 5% of drop on KOC is that I'm starting to kind of I question I have to do better. I have to do better. I have to do better. Well, then do better. It's 4 years. We haven't been able to run the ball since you got here. I'm not saying that we did before, but you just do better. And are you too in touch with trying to not replicate what happened to you to these quarterbacks?
Well, what did KOC say? More times the system fails a young quarterback than a young quarterback fails the system. And what are we doing? We're failing our young quarterback right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, obviously there's still, I mean, we still got a couple games with Carson Wentz and he could go in there and the offensive line could be just as terrible and he could get sacked 10 times. I mean, I don't know. Right, he does, right. He's 2016, so he's in his 9th year or 10th year, I guess, 16. Yeah, be 10. So, I don't know that he can move. I don't know that he ever could. I mean, he's a big guy, I think. I don't know what his actual stats are, but, he's got a good arm and all that kind of stuff, but he's a veteran. So I think the game is definitely not going to be too fast for him. So, but a lot can happen between now and then. So we'll have to just kind of see it. I mean, hope for the best. Like I said, Cincinnati does not have Joe Burrow. So, that could have been an easy win with anybody. Max Brosner could be in there and maybe we could get a win. Then, of course, we go over to the C's with the Pittsburgh and then the Browns, which the Browns is, I mean,
Pittsburgh looks tough. Honestly, Aaron Rodgers looking good.
We get some pressure on them, and we can keep the defense, going what they're going. Again, we were that close, a terrible game, and yet we were all the way to the fourth quarter. We were one score or into the third quarter, I guess. We were one score from taking the lead, and so the offense just has to be better. The defense did all they could do. You can't play for 43 minutes on defense and expect them, or 36 minutes, I guess, whatever it was, to expect them to hold up the whole game. I mean, it's too big of an ask.
I always say that, the Ravens won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. But with that said, Billick needed one thing from Trent Dilfer a game, and that was one touchdown. He said, we'll protect them. We'll do the rest. Yeah. Well, we didn't get one touchdown.
Yeah. And they probably averaged seven. I bet they probably averaged 17 points. I mean, I'm sure they had more than just.
They always got more than one touchdown, but they got some kicks. You had some kicks on top of that one touchdown. But the fact of the matter is, we didn't get that. Yeah. So we're not even at Trent Dilfer.
You can't score 6 points and expect to do anything. Like the defense you're not going to shut people out. So not in this day and age. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's the Browns. I don't care if it's the Bears. You're not going to shut them out. I mean, the Bears had us on life support until the fourth quarter, which part of that, I thought, okay, this is great, it's us, but I think part of it was the Bears being the Bears.
It's definitely Bears being the Bears in that, I don't think the Bears are a terrible team, but they're the Bears and they find ways to lose. They're a talented team. They really are.
Caleb Williams is just that dude. He's weird, but
he panics. I think he, when he shrinks in the big moments.
Yeah. Which again, to give JJ his credit, that dude's a winner, and I think that in time he will show up and he's gonna be a stud. Just what he showed us. There's definitely some fight in that dog, and the fact that he's a dog, just like, come on, let's go, and he's energetic and he's excited and the team believes in him and all this kind of stuff. I think it's there, but I think maybe the game is still a little bit too fast for him. Like I said, it doesn't help that he has no time in the pocket, or that offensive line is so bad. But it's that's part of the game, and we're gonna find out real quick here now if a veteran can do better. But it could be unfair to JJ too, because if Christian Darrisaw is back on Sunday against Cincinnati,
and
that's a huge difference. A huge difference. And Hitman's back on defense, and Gink is back out there. I mean, the defense was good anyways, but if we get CD back, he's all pro left tackle. Like nobody's going to be running for their life from that side. Like JJ's been the first 2 weeks. So it's kind of an unfair assessment because of the offensive line. And does a veteran quarterback do any better? You know what I mean? Like Kirk Kirko wouldn't have for sure. Kirk would have folded every time too because he's always trying to hold the ball and look downfield and all that kind of stuff. So he would have definitely held onto it, and took all these sacks. But I don't know. It's
he would have hit Naylor though.
He would have hit Naylor. There's no doubt about that. He would have. Yeah,
I still think
Kirk's
the one of the most accurate passers in the league.
Oh yeah, the one that he short hopped to Jets. I mean, like those passes don't happen with Kirk O'Chain. And I don't think they happen with Carson Wentz. I think that Carson Wentz is going to be a little bit more accurate. You know, that was the other knock on JJ, and even in the preseason and some of the practices and stuff like that in the one preseason game they played, was that when he missed high. You know, like his accuracy was not great because I think he's trying to throw the ball so hard. So, you know, take him a little time to find his touch and to work on some of the nuances of the game at that position. And it's going to come. I still believe in him. We have him for 4 or 5 years, you know, on a rookie contract. So I think that he's going to be an amazing quarterback at some point. But I don't know that him being hurt. And of course, there's speculation like, is he really that hurt? Because you know they just taped it up and keep playing. But if anybody of an athlete, you know that in the moment, in the adrenaline, you can go through a lot of pain, and then afterward, you're like, oh wow, this really hurts, and it swells up.
And then when it's when it's taped up, it can't swell. As soon as you take that thing off, and it pops like a biscuit tube, you know, like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but you know, so is it partially, you know, is it not as bad as they say, and so we're just gonna. I mean, they did not put him on IR, so there's no 4 week, and then open up the window and you come back and stuff like that, you know, because that IR people think, oh, that's 4 weeks, but that's 4 week minimum. And with the Vikings, it's usually 8 because they're like, yep, we're going to open up the window, but then, well, we're just going to do this. And I get tired of it, you know, honestly. Yeah. I'm like, dude, just go out there and play football. That's what you're meant to do. Yeah, you're banged up. You know, like if you were healthy going into the season and you got a nick and a bruise and all this kind of stuff, you're still going to play. You're going to take a shot.
Did you hear the interview with Kendrick the other day? I think he was talking, was reminiscing about like when he started and Hitman was on there, and he's like, oh man, I think I'm pretty sure I broke some ribs in that play, and Harry's just like, nobody cares. And he literally was just like, nobody cares, get out there, and
let's go.
And he's just like, what?
Yeah, so you know it gets frustrating because here you have CD's been at practice and he's doing this, and then 1 week he's questionable, and the next week he's out, and then KOC's trying to explain, well, you know, we want to experience this and that and stuff like that. I think that sometimes they're too overly cautious, because if you came into week 1 healthy and you had the same type of injury, you would go back out and keep playing. You know what I mean? Like the next week, you know, you take a cortisone shot, you tape it up, and you keep playing. Okay, it's part of the season. But because you start on the season injured, okay, well now we're ramping them up. We're ramping them up, and I'm just like, sometimes when I hear KOC say that, I just get so frustrated. Like, dude, you're making tens of millions of dollars to play the stupid game. Just get out there. Like, come on. How can you be? Like, let's just go. Like, you at, you know, Christian Darrisaw at 75% is better than what we've had out there. So, you know, if there's no chance of him re-injuring himself, okay, that's one thing. But he's just not game ready yet. Well, who cares? Get out there. How are you going to get game ready? Throw him in the fire. Let's go. You know, if it takes you a half to get back to normal, okay, fine. But then after that, you're going to lock back in because you're out there.
Yeah.
You know,
it's easy to,
how do you learn? How do you learn?
It's easy to say until you put them in and they're not as good, or they get re-injured, and then you're like, you started too early.
That's true. But it does get frustrating after a while. So, but all those things to say that things are, I mean, he's coming back at some point, hopefully very soon. Full participant today in practice. So, and Harry's coming back, and this is the last week without Jordan Addison. Now, is it going to make a difference that we have an extra target? I don't know, because if the O-line can't hold up, it doesn't matter who we have out there. You know what I mean?
We can't hit the targets we have now.
We can't hit the targets we have. Yeah. I mean, JJ had he had 80 some yards on Sunday, but it's not, I can't think of, you know, like, oh, he made a difference, you know, because we couldn't get the ball to him. We couldn't get the ball to anybody.
Well, you know, I think we can move on to next week with Carson Wentz, and we are at Cincinnati. They lost their starting quarterback. It's at home. So, I'm gonna throw a very lukewarm I think we win.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Well, I had us down as that was our loss, but I'm going to change mine to where, we do. I think we still win. We're at home. Things settle down. Carson Wentz, I think the game is not going to be too fast. And we got Cam Akers. We signed Cam Akers again
that's
every
right.
year. We signed Cam Akers this week. So with Ty Chandler going down, and that's the other thing. Aaron Jones, IR. Aaron Jones, 4 weeks out with a hamstring. So with that could be 8 or 10. Like we may not see him till December. So Cam Akers is back. So we're going to find out here about Jordan Mason, which I think that he could do it. He did great last year for the 49ers when CMC went out. So he was a good spell for Jordan, but now Cam Akers is back, so hopefully he can kind of get back in there and get like it seems like the last 3 years we brought him in like mid-season. I saw something like my favorite holidays are Easter and Christmas, the Vikings signing Cam Akers, Memorial Day, Labor Day, all this stuff. It's just like clockwork. Cam Akers is back with the Vikings, so I think KOC mentioned it, in press conference. He kind of smirked, that he's back in the building or something, So they just keep letting him go, and they just keep bringing him back. So, but we're
just going to give him an honorary locker, just in case, just keep.
Keep it open. Just keep your stuff here. We'll put in a box for you, and then next year when you come, when my parents come to visit Michigan, they leave half their stuff here in John's basement, and then when they come back, they just unpack it again. So here you go, Cam. Here's your box of stuff. Here's your locker contents from Minnesota. So anyway, so 12 o'clock local there, 1 o'clock Eastern time. The Bengals come into the bank, and then we go overseas, and then we have the bye. So so we had the Monday night game. Now we have a regular game. Is it too early to
say this is a must win?
I don't think that it's a must win. I don't feel that because
if we go down 1-2, we're going to lose to Philadelphia. So then that means we're going to be 1-3.
Philadelphia does not look that great. They have not scored a lot of points, and they're finding ways to win, but Jalen Hurts has not had over 100 yards passing. They're not the Philadelphia of old for sure. They're 2-0, but I don't know. We'll see. But obviously we want to win them all, but I think we're definitely still going to beat the Steelers and the Browns across the pond. So even if we start out 3-2, it's not the end of the world. But I think we beat Cincinnati. I don't know that I would consider it a must win. It's a game that we should win. I don't know what the early line is. I guess I could take a peek at that real quick just to see. Obviously that could change, but I don't know if they believe, Vegas believes more in Carson Wentz, or I don't know who is that Cincinnati's backup now. I forget. The early line on the Minnesota game is Vikings -3. So we are favored at home, but that's -3.
That's an even line. They give you 3 at home.
Kind of a toss-up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're not real high on either one. So
which makes sense. You just don't know what's good. But when you don't know what Carson's going to do. You got all the injuries. You just,
Jake Browning. Jake Browning, and he had 200 and some yards on Sunday. So that's going to be their starting quarterback for the Bengals on Sunday at noon at the bank. So I think we still win. I think we get, obviously we're going to get some points on the board. I think we probably win 21-17 or something like that. Maybe we just cover the spread or something. But I don't. It's not time to panic. There's still. I think we're going to be just fine. And sometimes an early loss like this, and even an embarrassment, can be kind of a gut check. Like Adam Thielen said, how does this team respond to this?
Yeah.
And we've seen them respond in the past, to bad losses, but it's very reminiscent of Week 18 and the playoff game where we just did not show up. And so I think that the trauma, the Minnesota Viking trauma, is what comes up. And it's just we can look good and all the criticism. Yeah, but the Vikings can't ever win anything. And it's true. I mean, we've proven that. Like we've had our chances. A couple of NFC Championship games in the last 10 years or whatever, or 15 years in our lifetime. We've been 3 or 4 or 5 times or something. But it's still like we can look really good at times, but then we can just flat out lay an egg. Like going back to last year against the Lions. Here it is, week 18. Everything's on the table. Won that game in Detroit, but we looked terrible in that game. Yeah. And then we come out and get head smashed by the Rams, and we look just as terrible. And so when I see that again this past Sunday, even though it's a different feel, it's a different team and all this kind of stuff, it's just like that, that PTSD just pops in like, here we go. Like, okay, yeah, we looked great in the fourth quarter, but now is the greatness an aberration, and this is who we are?
I'm back to kind of going into this game. I'm back to kind of like where I was before last season and before this season, where I'm just kind of like, well, I guess we'll wait and see. We have all the weapons in the world. Let's see what we can do. And if Carson Wentz can be as good as Sam Darnold, well, we should be all right.
I think he can be.
This is kind of where honestly, this is kind of where KOC has shined when he has gotten a new quarterback, and then he makes lemonade out of lemons. So all right, let's wrap her up. I think we've said all there is to say.
Yeah, unfortunately, not a great high note on this podcast, on this particular one, but that's part of being a sports fan. I mean, that's why we love the game so much, because of the highs and the lows. And sometimes it seems like we have a little bit lower lows than most, but every fan base.
We have lower lows at the biggest moments. That's what the Vikings claim. Because we actually win a lot. We just don't ever win the big ones.
Yeah,
that's the problem. But all right.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm supposed to do the thing.
I'm waiting for the gallow.
Because I was going
to the gallow. CMI.
And I tell you guys I love you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And that will never change. I will ride with this group until they don't let us play more games.